Seattle Unity. I'm so glad you're here today with us. Hello to the people in the room and hello to the folks at home. Hi. Someday I would love to see you in the room as well, although I know you're comfy in your jammies, but I want you to be in here. Would you stand as you are able? Because the folks in here are going to get to move a little more. This is a little step touch. It's incredibly easy. It goes like this. Oh, oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. Oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. Twice more. Oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. Once more. Oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. Now just oh. Get it moving and let's clap. Ready? Oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. Yeah. Oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. Yeah. Oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. Yeah. The Spirit of God is upon me. I'm going to do a verse. I used to think that I had to. Used to think that I should. The scripture told me I had to be good. Now I love cause I want to. Love cause I'm free. And I'm blinded by spirit. The Spirit of God is upon me. Sing it to me. Oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. Yeah. Oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. Yeah. Sing out strong. Spirit of God is upon me. Let us pray.
And so we do open to that presence, that power, and the activity of God. So let us affirm our opening statement together. There is but one presence and one power in my life and in the universe, God the good, omnipotence.
In this place, I'm going to sing another of her verses. This is by Ricky Byers Beckwith, and she's got lots of verses in the middle. And the one I'm going to choose is, Thought it was my duty, thought it was my job. Someplace inside me, I thought that loving God should be hard. But loving God is easy, loving God is ecstasy, yeah. Blinded by the Spirit, yeah. The Spirit of God is upon me. Sing it to me. Whoa, the Spirit of God is upon me, yeah. Oh, the Spirit of God is upon me, yeah. Spirit of God is upon me. Oh, just keep going with that. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's on me. Oh, it's on you. All over, within, through, and as you. Yes, oh, Spirit of God is upon me. Oh, Spirit of God is upon me. You sound very good. Please be seated.
Good morning, and welcome to Seattle Unity, both in-house and at home. So if you're watching from home, I invite you to type in the chat box where you're watching from. And just a reminder that if you have prayer requests, you can also type those into the chat box. And for those of us in the room, the prayer request box is out in the hall. So let's move to our statement this morning, which is our mission together. We are a welcoming spiritual community, thriving in the heart of Seattle, celebrating, inspiring, and deepening our individual and collective spiritual journeys. And it is so. All right. How many of you were here for the party last night? I hear it was a lot of fun. All right. So a couple of announcements before we begin the service, and that is that the Qigong is continuing on Wednesday nights at 6. And I am leading a workshop at noon about planning your own end-of-life celebration or memorial service, whatever you want to call it. So we're going to meet downstairs in the conference room at noon. And we have a special reception following the service. We have quiche, we have some meatballs and some goodies upstairs, and that is being provided by Unity World Headquarters today because we have a special blessing that is being given to us by Linda Martell Whitsett and Terrell Petrie, who are here from Unity World Headquarters. Stand, and then I'll introduce you even a little more. So during the portion of the service where we usually have a reading, Linda is going to give us a special blessing. She's also our guest speaker today. So she is an award-winning New Thought author and Unity minister. Linda Martella Whitsett teaches that we are here to be the light of the world. Her message promotes humanity's innate capacities with which to respond to life circumstances with spiritual maturity. So after 20 years ministering in Unity communities, in 2017 she joined the executive team at Unity World Headquarters at Unity Village, Missouri, and she leads Silent Unity, right? You all know what Silent Unity is? Yay! The 24/7 global ministry. She's also the author of 3 books, which we should see on the screen here: How to Pray Without Talking to God, Divine Audacity, and This Life is Yours. And obviously you can get them at Barnes & Noble or Amazon. And her book, Discover Your Divinity, A Modern Approach to Affirmative Prayer, is coming out this September. So again, join me in welcoming Linda and Terrell. And that said, let's all stand and greet one another.
As you are able. But you should probably make your way to a place where you could maybe dance a little bit. So this is another really easy sing-along, and if it sounds a little bit like Santana or Evil Ways or something, that's because it is. That's what it is, but the lyric is different. It's easy, it goes like this. Don't you know that I am blessed? 'Cause I'm moving in the spirit. Don't you know that I am blessed? 'Cause I'm moving in the spirit. Here's a little back and forth. Yes, I'm moving in the spirit. Moving in the spirit. Yes, I'm moving in the spirit. Moving in the spirit. Moving in the one eternal love. I am blessed. So it's really, really easy. This song is really about just continuing to keep your body supple, letting your spine move, And the reason we want to is not only because unity is an embodied practice, but also because we're going to eventually get into a meditation. And if your body's not awake, I don't know about you, but I tend to fall asleep in meditation. We don't want that to happen. So use this to move around. And if you want to put your arms over your head or whatever kind of dancing you do, even if it's like really awkward or it's from a different decade than everybody else, embody that proudly, because in this room, I'm proud of you. You can freaking Charleston, I don't care. Let's keep it moving. Ready? Like it. Don't you know that I am blessed? 'Cause I'm moving in the spirit. Don't you know that I am blessed? Oh yeah. 'Cause I'm moving in the spirit. Let those arms go. Yes, I'm moving in the spirit. Moving in the spirit. I'm moving in the spirit. Moving in the spirit. Moving in the one eternal love. I am blessed. Let's change it to I'm dancing. Here we go. Don't you know that I am blessed? 'Cause I'm dancing in. 'Cause I'm dancing in the spirit. Don't you know that I am blessed? Oh yeah. 'Cause I'm dancing in the spirit. Yeah, I'm dancing in the spirit. Dancing in the spirit. I'm dancing in the spirit. Dancing in the spirit. Dancing in the one eternal love. I am blessed. Yes. Let's take a little dance break and you can move around. Give us some good stuff. Now let's see each other. So I'm going to say, I am blessed because I see you in the spirit. And so this is a moment where you can take this song that's easy to sing while you're looking at me and try singing it at someone else. That's potentially more vulnerable and risky and embarrassing and fun. So let's do it. Ready? Don't you know that I am blessed because I see you? Because I see you in the spirit. Yes, I do. Yes, I know that I am blessed. 'Cause I see you in the spirit. Now back and forth. 'Cause I see you in the spirit. See you in the spirit. I see you in the spirit. See you in the spirit. See you in the one eternal love. I am blessed. I am blessed. I am blessed. Last one. I am. Well done. Please be seated. And I hope that you're able to take off any external coats or anything like that and become settled in your chair. We're moving into a more contemplative part of the service. Many days, this first step in is guided by one of the spiritual authorities from our community, and today we are very blessed to have a spiritual authority from the whole movement. This morning we were running, and every time they said Unity World Headquarters, I'm a big nerd, and I translated it to Starfleet Headquarters. So this would be like Admiral Linda. I want to invite Admiral Linda forward to lead us in the blessing and give us a blessing that comes from World Headquarters. Thank you, Linda.
Oh, what a beautiful privilege to be with it. What a privilege to be with you. I'm used to having an implant. Sorry. First of all, you're dazzling to me. Thank you. Secondly, let's bless and invoke power and presence in this moment.
in the eternity of this now moment, let's use our power of imagination to invoke the spirit of all that is, often called God, the universe, the infinite. And using terms like let there be and let us be as a command of consciousness rather than an asking for something else to come and act upon us, right? I invite you to affirm along with me, let there be presence. Silently say it. Let there be presence. The presence of the divine that we recognize as spiritual power and encompassing peace. In unity consciousness, let us know that where we are, God is. That this is true for each and all of us. That this is the truth for all who came before us and all who will follow us into this sacred space at 8th and John. In unity, let us be of the same mind that was in the community's ancestors. Envision the year 1945, precisely May 25th of that year, when a collective consciousness of unity emerged into a spiritual community for the first time. It was merely 3 months before the end of World War II. Think about that. And the population of Seattle, you'll laugh, 368,000. Imagine with me the intentionality, the fervor of the first Seattle unity in the heart of this city. We summoned the first and early members and their leaders right now, knowing that we are, all together with them, one dynamic fulfillment of a divine intention, fostering a lifestyle of spirituality that frees and heals, uplifts, and empowers all. So we celebrate today, and just let your heart beam deep appreciation for their vision, as well as for your vision and their efforts and your efforts that continue to bear fruit for all who enter here. Some of you undoubtedly made this community your spiritual home a long time ago, others maybe more recently, but take a moment to bring to mind any of the spiritual leaders in this ministry's almost 100 years. Those who served in its rich history. Let us recognize their presence that is infinite and eternal, that's here, right here where we are. The seeds of new thought that they planted are blooming in us today. Also, shower your blessings on Reverend Karen, Reverend Diane, your board of trustees, and everyone whose anointed leadership here has led this community across a bridge from the past to the present in such a way that sustains its historic purpose and yet extends its reach to people of today. That's no easy thing to accomplish, as you may know. But think of the people who are coming here today, people maybe like you came here precisely for this message, delivered in this way from this spiritual community. I invite up my colleague, Vice President of Philanthropy at Unity World Headquarters, Terrell Petrie, who's going to join me now in presenting a plaque to the leadership. So please, Reverend Karen, Reverend Diane, come on up also. I'll hand the mic to Terrell.
Good morning. Such a joy to be here today. And we honor each of you. We honor the spiritual community. We honor you, Reverend Karen and Reverend Diane. And we have a plaque here. Unity World Headquarters celebrates the new church home of Seattle Unity, a welcoming spiritual community thriving in the heart of Seattle, celebrating, inspiring, and deepening our individual and collective spiritual journeys. Thank you for being who you are and the message that you provide to the world.
So knowing that a community is only a community when a group of people prioritize community, devote a moment with me to silently beam your appreciation to all who have in the past and all who are these days in the seats of this community, on site and online. You inspire one another, you support one another, and bless one another. And isn't that what community is for? So as the seventh leader of Silent Unity in its 125 years of history, I'm with you today to bring thanks and blessings from Unity World Headquarters. So I pray with you now. Seattle Unity, you are the light of the world and the love of God in the world, the embodiment of spirit in the world. By your great power of spiritual imagination, may you continue to thrive as a community that teaches people how to heal by the power of mind and how to serve the world by the unifying power of divine love. May the light of Seattle Unity reach into every corner and crevice of this city, whose population has multiplied several times over since the early days. 368,000 then, 3.5 million now. So think about that. May this sanctuary and the dedicated spaces on this property be a divine light magnet. May those who seek you find you. Those who need you flock to you for spiritual enrichment. So on behalf of Unity World Headquarters, I and we appreciate Seattle Unity's generosity through the years, supporting Unity's 24/7 prayer ministry, Silent Unity. Because of your gifts, we're continually able to make possible the fulfillment of our mission, which is to pray with everyone who asks, 1.4 million people every year. So we love you. We bless you. We appreciate you. We behold the Christ light that you are shining in the world and in your lives now and into a fulfilling future. And so it is. And so it is. Amen.
Amen. In the center of every Unity service, we make time for a meditation. Today's will be a silent meditation of about 3 or 4 minutes. And what makes it special when we share that meditation is we reinforce the idea that it is safe to be silent for 3 to 4 minutes, even in 2023, even among other people. So I encourage you to become open. The song that we'll use to sort of ramp into that energy space I learned it a long time ago. It's from the 80s. It was popular on the Louise Hay circuit and in healing circles. So especially I learned it from breast cancer survivors, but it was also in any healing circle. It's called How Could Anyone Ever Tell You? And my friend Melissa, who is one of our wonderful congregant helper backup singers, is going to introduce it to you now.
How can anyone ever tell you you are anything less than beautiful? How can anyone ever tell you you are less than whole? How can anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply I'm connected to your soul.
How could anyone ever tell you you are anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you are less than whole?
Whoa, Gretchen and team, I am moved nearly to tears. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so excited to celebrate Sunday with you. I don't get this privilege very often these days with my work, so thank you. Thank you so much for the invitation. Reverend Karen asked me to speak about the theme that's happening right now, all about life and afterlife and the soul, especially she asked me to speak about the soul in terms of Unity's message about the soul. Well, all I can teach, all I can share with you is like my own evolving understanding of Unity's message, right? Because we're all filters and interpreters of the message. And so you'll get my interpretation, the gospel according to Linda today, around this. And it begins with the word unity. The word unity is the foundation of this for me. Charles Fillmore, co-founder of Unity, came upon this word in a meditation in the early days when, they were involved with many different New Thought disciplines and searching for the one that really struck them as what they were all about. Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, what they were all about. They had studied and acknowledged the studies of various and sundry disciplines, religions and disciplines, common ones and really obscure ones as well in the world of their time. And what they were struck with was that truth is truth. That truth can be shared in many different ways and different cultural and languaging of the messaging, but truth is truth, and it's found in all the disciplines of the world. So they came to think of it as unity, meaning oneness. Meaning this discipline that they were going to be introducing to the world and sharing was about oneness, not to be confused with sameness. Make sense? So unity means oneness. I was a yogini in an earlier part of my life. Yoga was my discipline. And the word Om means unity. It's all one. And oneness is the theme. And so oneness is my theme today as I think about what the soul is, what life is, what afterlife is, what it all is. And so this, to me, I think the Fillmores intuited what metaphysicians and mystical masters of all times have found. God and I are one. We say it. We say it all the time. God and I are one. Which means there's no separation. Which means there's no separation. I know this is the message of this community as well. I'm just reinforcing it, I think, this morning. In the teachings about God in Unity, we lean toward a description of that nature that is broad and vast and well beyond the definition of a being. More about beingness, right? More about universal power and presence. More about oneness. More about infinite love. You shared about that this morning. All that is terminology that is so much bigger than any person could be, yes? No separation. No separation. Modern science is confirming this today, unity. Particularly astrophysicist Neil deGrasse. Familiar with Neil? Yeah. He named the 4 primary elements for life on this planet, right? You know them. Hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, and nitrogen. Did I say that twice? No. Yeah. Essential elements for life, universal life. So it wouldn't surprise us, would it, to find that those are the 4 essential elements in our physicality. So Neil teaches that this means that we are integrally a part of the universe. And he says, as important, the universe is in us. Well, we've heard this before, have we not? The spirit within. The spirit within. But fathoming that, to me, takes me to a different place of just using the word God, which for me is such a small word. because it means everything, that it's hard to describe it to mean anything. So I love the descriptors for that nature, right? But it sounds great, doesn't it? Doesn't it? You know, chances are you are here today because you intuited unity for yourself. In other words, you've had glimpses, have you not, in your lifetime of that non-duality, of no separation. A moment, a consciousness. I had it just right here and now in the silence and in the music that followed it. This merging of all that I am with all that is, right? We're here because of that, because this is what we have longed for. I think, you know, it's that perception of separateness when it fades and you felt and sensed and know you're part of all that is. That glimpse of that makes us hungry for more, does it not? It makes me hungry for more. And this is why I practice the spiritual discipline, right? I'm hungry for that experience. The knowledge, the embodied knowledge of oneness. This is the human condition, that we long to know that we are more than human. That there's another aspect of our beingness. So when we think in terms of the past or the present or even the future, and whether we think in terms of physical life or physical death, we search for what is unity. Really, what is unity? What does it mean here and now? What does unity mean to me while I'm embodied? And what does unity mean when I think about after physical death? If unity means no separation, no other, to me, this is why we struggle, because we can't find words that really speak to or describe this experience of unity, but we are always looking for it. We're always hungry for it. So the simplest way for me to conceptualize for myself, and I teach about this, speak about it now, this struggle to dwell in oneness is this. I am 100% human. And so are you, if you didn't notice. I am 100% divine. And so are you. And so are we all. Can you feel the possible confusion that could happen depending where I'm standing in consciousness? I think this is the big problem. It's not really a problem, but it is definitely the struggle that we go through to experience oneness. Because in a reality where we teach there is no duality, there's two. There's human, there's divine, me. It can be very confusing. So what is this physical of me? Let's just break it down so we're really understanding of this from my framework anyway, from my gift of some kind of message for you today. What is the physical, that human? Well, it's form and shape. It's what we can see and touch and experience with our senses, right? It's our emotions. It's the logical thought process. It's relative truth. My truth. It's not truth, it's my truth in physical form, right? Because I have a worldview based on my brain action and my study and what I have internalized about life. I have a particular point of view that's mine. That's what I'm sharing with you today, mine. But all human form, all human ways of expressing have limitations. The brain has some serious limitations. If you study David Eagleman's work on brain science, he teaches that we see what we expect to see, right? That we don't see something that's right in front of us if we're not expecting. Doesn't seem like it belongs. We don't even notice it. I've had that clear to me in perception seminars of how much I could miss in a moment, right? Every brain does this. It's not unique to me, for sure. Every brain does this. And the brain does not deal in subtlety, right? finite. It's finite. And it's about finite manifestation. We have a birth date, we have a death date. That is physical. That is the physical part of our identity. And so we have trouble then squaring that with the spiritual reality, our spiritual identity, our divinity. That realm is spaciousness. It's limitlessness. It's the silence, right? That part of us is like absolute truth. It's inspiration. It's the whisper of intuition. It's all the non-visibles. It's hard to fathom sometimes, especially if I'm not being quiet enough. I can miss it entirely. That's why we meditate. Spiritual understanding. These are all the realm of our divine identity. That 100% divine of us. Infinity. But it too has limitations, only in the sense that it's limited when I'm walking around in an earth suit, that there's limitations of what that ineffable aspect of my being can actually do, because it can't do. It's not a doer. Anybody remember the viral? It was viral before viral was a word, of Jill Bolte Taylor's Stroke of Insight. Anybody remember her? The medical professional who walked herself through and described her experience of having a stroke. And when her left brain went off duty, the left side of her brain went off duty, she was in what, I don't remember her exact description, but it was sort of the amorphous now. The ever-presence, omnipresence. She was in the state of omnipresence. And she couldn't do any good darn thing in that state in a human way. So she couldn't even dial her telephone to call for emergency help. She couldn't even recognize numbers and all those other forms and shapes in the physical when that brain was off duty. So she found herself toggling back and forth between human and divine in that state. And she described so beautifully the challenge of living fully in one and not being able to fluidly flow from one awareness to another. This brings us to the description of the soul. Because the soul, in my defining it, there's so many definitions, and Fillmore had his own definition, Charles did, but I think of the soul as pivotal consciousness. The soul is that very non-physical, can't touch it, aspect of us that makes meaning. It's that part of us that filters all of our experience and knowledge and our intuitions and all of it, filters it, and has the ability to toggle back and forth from human and divine awareness. That's why Fillmore called it the pivotal action of the soul. We can take our instruction from the physical and see ourselves fully grounded here and land in logical conclusions, all of that. And we can also turn our mind to the ineffable, and we can listen for and pay attention for the murmurs of wisdom that see things a very different way than we can with our logical brain only. Is this making sense? Okay. I love talking about it because I love being in this continuous quest for myself, right? So here it is. As a soul, you are and I am a point in consciousness in infinity. I'm a point of consciousness in infinity, able to know myself as a distinctive point of consciousness or as infinity. We are able to know ourselves in both of and either of these ways as we need them. So, while in human form, we have the capacity to draw from humanity and divinity, which constitutes wholeness, oneness, completeness. You feel that. You feel that. You're feeling in touch right in this moment with your humanity and your divinity. All of it. And so in physical death, consciousness pivots entirely toward the spiritual identity. I mean, that's what it's to do. It sloughs off the physical only awareness and lands completely in infinity. And yet, so we say, wherever I am, God is, whether expressing physically or non-physically, all of it is. And isness is alive. Isness is life. And it cannot be destroyed. Wow. So whether I'm in physical form or in a formless state, I am alive. What do we do with this knowledge? What could possibly be practical about it, right? Well, we have tons of practices in Unity to help us to navigate and to get good at flowing, right? And the first word I want to actually look to is flow, because we're talking about divine life. The power and light of divine life are our spiritual capacities. They are, it's a principle. Divine life is a principle. And while we're in physical form, we can interact with that principle, we can embody it, and we can know it in the non-physical aspects of life, right? So one of the descriptors for divine life is flow, the animating power of life. You know, don't you? Life is forward, onward, upward, flowing, always, always, always. Anything that's static dies, right? A body of water cut off from its source, it gets poisonous, it gets toxic, and it dies. And so that's one of the ways we can understand that divine life is a continuous flow. And so to acknowledge that I am in a continuous flow of life, and I embody the flow of life in my life. And so one way that I have learned to practice this is to get into physical movement. When you asked us to dance, that's one of the ways that we can experience the animating power of life in our physical self, right? And so whatever we do, we go, when I go hiking, when I dance, when I am doing any form of exercise or physical movement, to attune to the reality of life right here and now, that I am in the flow and I am the flow of life deliberately in that experience. That's just a practice that allows me to get into that state of awareness, right? How many of you feel that? You feel most alive when you're on the treadmill, right? Or hiking through the cliff. Okay, I heard a lot of groans just now. Oh, that was awesome. All right, but you know where I'm going. Okay, so an affirmation for claiming that power of life right here and now, and anchoring myself in the oneness as a person who's embodied, because right here and now we are embodied, is this: I am the forward, onward, upward flow of life. Will you say that with me together? I am the forward, onward, upward flow of life. Take a moment to just let that settle in. Let the cells take that as an instruction and as a truth. And divine life also has the quality of vitality or energy. That's no surprise, right? As we learned in 4th grade science class, at least my age, it was 4th grade science class with Mrs. Pencunis, when I learned that energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be changed. It could change form. It could change form. Okay, in a universe of oneness, we have form, the physical form. We have the formlessness of our spiritual nature. None of that when we get to this disembodied part of life, it's just changed. It's just changed. The form has changed, but the energy remains because it cannot be destroyed. Does this become clearer and clearer to me as I near the twilight? I'm at I'm in the, I'm going to continue to say I'm in the autumn of my life. I'm not there in the winter yet, but you know what I'm saying. You know, it's important to know it. It's important to begin to contemplate and to comprehend this as a truth to know. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only change form. And so when I'm in physical form, I'm in a certain form. When I'm in spiritual awareness, I'm in the formless, just like ice and steam. Yeah? Just like ice and steam. So a practice for this for me, because here's what happens with this vitality. It's not just physical energy, it's mental and intentional energy. This is where the practice of the creative process can really help us, because in this power of life as vitality, we are meant to create. We give life to our dreams and intentions. We are the wielders of this power of life. And this, to me, is where it gets so exciting. So by following through in something like building your own vision board, right? Journal writing, scheduling one action that I'm going to take toward a goal every single day. These practices ground us in life, in the energy and vitality of creating. I give life to my dreams and intentions. So say after me, I give life to divine ideas. I give life to divine ideas. Wow, and think about one idea that's floating around right now in your intentions. I give life to divine ideas. And finally, presence is, it's not only evidence of divine life, but it is divine life expressing. We think of presence as God. Well, that's pretty invisible. That's a pretty much invisible reality, right? But you are presence. You are a presence. This is evidence of your divine life. So my sister Maureen, my beloved sister, made her transition 20-some years ago now. I always go to her when I think about after her death, being in such sorrow for her early death, and awakening in the middle of the night, not knowing why, coming down to the living room, sitting on the couch, being still. My sister's snarky wit came to my brain. I heard her say something really, it was funny, but it was like sort of snarky funny. It wasn't my thought. I'll have to say, it wasn't the way I think. And as soon as I heard it, as soon as that thought occurred to me, I said, there you are, Maureen. There you are. I had been waiting to sort of know that she was okay. And that's how she told me. I told her, please don't appear at the foot of my bed. And so she didn't, kindly. She just came as a thought in my brain. And I recognized her. She had a unique presence. And I thought about this. I thought, when I think about my sister, I still envision her in her apartment on the other side of the country when we were on the phone and I would hear her voice. She was disembodied to me then, right? And yet I knew her, yet she had a distinctive presence that wasn't physical. She had a physical presence at one time, yeah, but that wasn't the caliber of her presence was something ineffable. And so when I think about this is life. Presence is life, right? Wow. God is not a physical presence. And I am presence. And so what does my presence mean? What am I going to give as a gift of my presence in any situation? So I like to teach people to practice going through a grocery store, right, or some other busy place, public space with lots of people, and to walk through there like sort of with your head down and sort of curled in and not connecting with others and see how that feels. And then go through again, this time raising your face and looking, beholding other people and nodding to them or even exchanging something. Notice the difference that your presence makes. Notice how it feels to be intentionally present and how it feels to kind of hide and not want to be seen as a presence. We are a presence. Each one of us is a gift of presence. Whew. And so, that's one of my practices for that, especially when I start to worry that maybe I don't have much to offer. You know, I look, if I get in one of those spaces, I have to remind myself that my presence does matter, and I have a gift of presence. And what does my presence mean? What quality of the divine, what am I going to shine as the light of that presence in the world today? And so I want to ask you that. Think about you deciding, what does my presence mean today? What's the gift of my presence? What light am I going to shine when I leave here and go up and eat some treats upstairs, right? What light am I going to shine with other people here today? So find your word for that, whether it's peace or love or strength or connection or whatever your word is for it. And affirm with me, I am a dynamic presence shining the light of. Okay? So you have your word. Let's say this together out loud. I am a dynamic presence shining the light of love. Oh, let's say it one more time, okay? Let's come, because the word is dynamic. Let's be that together. Together, I am a dynamic presence shining the light of love. Well, thank you, because what I know is you are the flow, the vitality, and the presence of divine life. That means you are whole. You are fully human, fully divine. You can flow between those two polarities so beautifully. You know how to do it. You didn't even need training for it. It happens naturally. But to pay attention for it, to actively seek that infinity of knowledge that we have access to instead of being stuck in our human limited way of seeing the world. What a gift and what a great practice. You are wonderful, and I'm so grateful to have a chance to share some thoughts with you today. Thank you. I look forward to saying hello after.
Thank you, Linda. I also wanted to acknowledge that Unity of Olympia is here with us today. Can you guys stand up so we can say hi to you? They are in the process of changing their building just like we did. So we're going to take a moment to bless our offerings. I invite our ushers to come forward. And whether you give by check or cash or electronically, I want you to hold that gift in your hand and know that if you give electronically, there's those little cards in the pews in front of you, the chairs in front of you, that you can hold to your heart and bless. So the text to give number is 206-350-8448. I find it is the easiest and best way to give. But however you give, we are grateful. I give willingly, joyfully, and lovingly, knowing that God is the constant source of my supply. I give with graciousness and receive with gratitude. Goes right to the heart, doesn't it? So let's just take a moment as we prepare to bless those who have requested prayer. So I invite you to move to that place within. And we hold the highest and best for Lisa and Stephen, for Susan and Mike. We hold in our prayers Rico. And Diane C., we surround you with our love and support as you experience divine order manifesting in your life. We hold Carol and Lisa C., Sabrina, Nancy, and family. We hold the highest and best for Jana and Stacy, for Ariel and her Nana, for Bill and Alan. We hold in our prayers Therese for peace, joy, and creation, to flourish among all those whose paths cross today and in this week. We hold and we bless the highest and best for Ron and Keith and Greg, for Louise and Arlene, for Pat and Hallie, Maggie, John, Clyde, Carolyn, Marianne, Anne and Michael, Kristen, Patricia Flores Roca, for Ukraine, for Turkey, and anyone else who comes to your mind, please speak their names now. And we know that the prayers are received with the intention with which they are given. And so we know this truth. The light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. The presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
And that's the truth. I invite you to stand one more time. Hold hands if you'd like to, but this is post-COVID. Make sure you get consent before we grab each other's hands. Also want to remind you, XY Zennials is also having brunch after service today. If you are from the Gen X or Millennial or one of those younger generations, there aren't enough of you in this room, so you got to support each other. Go on up there and find Jennifer Bowles. Find those young folks and make some noise. Otherwise, the boomers are going to just have us completely beat out. We got to make some noise. Yeah, because Don... you're going to be forever. You're the forever man. You will be here forever. Let's sing All Is Well, please. And we'll use this moment to really soak each other in. All is well.